Well, I have a big opinion on this, and I've been giving it out. So get ready,
I
guys,
agree
to,
with
to
that,
get
though.
the hate comments out. Um, Revenant sucks balls. His ultimate is horrible. Okay,
That's a
here's
big statement, man.
Hey, at least
statement,
okay.
and go
At
ahead and
least
argue with. Well, we know the event starting on the 12th. So there you go, guys. We
Oh,
have a
wow.
Valentine's Day event coming on the 12th. And the only things that I was able to pull out are, yeah, I don't know if it'll come all like that. I wouldn't expect that, but you never know. They might drop the Bloodhound Town takeover that I leaked information.
Hey guys, Seth Lee here, back with another SquadCast podcast, episode number 9. Now, this is a pretty big one. We got a lot to talk about since the last time we posted a podcast. Season 4 was not out, and since then, it has been out for a few days now. It's been out for 4 days about, so we've gotten adjusted to it. We've been able to test out all the changes, the updates, all that type of good stuff, so we can talk about it. Let's start off with one of the main things I've been really thinking about and wondering, a lot of people's opinions I've really wanted to hear, to be honest, is how Revenant really is and what his abilities are like, if they're balanced or they're too OP or too not OP, not good enough. So I'm curious, what do you guys think about Revenant and his abilities right now in the state of Apex? Like, how does he compare to other legends?
I think Revenant is like in desperate need of a buff already. And the reason is because not only do I think he's not as good, but I think Respawn needs to capitalize on the fact that Revenant was such a huge attraction for Season 4, and the fact that he's already starting, especially in the rank scene, he's already starting to take the back burner. People are going back to the typical Gibraltar, Pathfinder, Wraith, Watson, that same meta, and the meta really hasn't changed that much with Revenant. And I think his abilities are a little underwhelming, with like being they have a radius on his tactical and on his ultimate for the shadow abilities and things, and it just seems like it's a little underwhelming, and I think he needs to be a little bit better, or his abilities need to be at least the radius needs to be expanded a little bit, just so it's more
Radius on the tactical, right?
Well, radius on
He's
the
talking about the
tactical,
ultimate,
but
too.
I also think the ultimate could use a little radius buff, because like when you actually take his death totem and you become a shadow, you can only go so far before the death protection goes away and you're not a shadow anymore. So for instance, I grappled away the other day, took a portal by accident, and then when I got up in the portal, I had 3 people shooting at me and I wasn't even a shadow anymore because I had gone too far out of the death totem. So yeah, so you just immediately lose it. But it's obvious people in pro scrims, people, competitive players are going back to the same old meta. Revenant's not really changed anything. And with him being such a hot attraction, I think he needs to be a part of the meta, so it kind of juices the content that they put out.
Well, I have a big opinion on this, and I've been giving it out. So get ready,
I
guys,
agree
to,
with
to
that,
get
though.
the hate comments out. Revenant sucks balls. His ultimate is horrible. Okay,
That's a big statement, man.
Hey, at least
statement,
okay.
and go ahead and
we're
argue
just
with me in
being
the comments. I
honest.
would love to see your guys' opinion on this, and I'll tell you guys how you're wrong one by one. So, look, with the ultimate, you
Oh.
literally use his ultimate and go into a fight with half of your health, and then you don't get extra health. Once you lose that 100 health, you're teleported back, and you have to heal it all back.
I agree.
Where's the benefit? You don't get
There's
any
not a benefit
from it at all.
I guess
except
it's
to
like
go
just
into
hitting a
fight
Wraith portal.
vulnerable. Yeah, exactly. It's not.
Oh.
It's worse than that though, because you're forced to move. So you're over there in a fight. You lose 100 health, which we all lose in a fight. You just sit behind a rock real quick and heal with a bat. Oh no, you can't do this. Now we're going to send you 100 yards away where you can heal and then run back to the fight. Like, how dumb?
Yeah,
Like, what?
exactly.
There's no death protection. The way I think it should be set up is that when you use his ultimate, you actually get death protection. You go into the fight, you still have your full shield, your full health like normal. But if you're about to be downed, bam, it teleports you back and you have 1 HP, no shield. So I think that's how it should be changed, so that your shield is actually part of it.
That. And I just
Yeah,
feel like
that would make
the
sense.
yeah, because
Yeah,
the
it'd
ultimate
actually be
it's
protection.
once you go back to your death totem, like you're not in a place to actually benefit from that like ultimate of like, oh, now that I've teleported back over here, I can shoot him from the back. Because when you go back,
No.
you don't want to fight. You need to heal because you're like,
Yeah.
you might have a few shields, but you have no health, and it's not worth fighting at that point. So I agree with you.
But if they were to make that buff, I feel like it might be a little bit too OP, because then it'd be like an extra 600 HP because
So how would you buff
it's
it?
your teammates as
wouldn't-
well.
But they're not going to
It would
challenge
not
with
be
1 HP.
extra HP though, guys. It would not be extra HP. All it would be is that
Oh, yeah,
if
it's
you're
not
about to get
extra.
downed, you'd be teleported back with 1 HP left.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think
So
about it
no
like
extra
that.
HP.
Dang, yeah. So you guys
That
have
makes
kind of
sense.
changed my mind. I went into this thinking like Revenant, he's not that great, he's not that bad. I think he's just solid in the mid lane, like in compared to other characters. But the way you guys have set this up, I kind of agree. At this point, I think he probably does need a buff, at least to his ultimate, maybe. I don't know,
Yeah.
but
I'm surprised he didn't come in stronger because, like we said
Yeah.
earlier in previous podcasts, we want these legends who come out, whether it's a new season or if there's multiple coming out of the season, even though we haven't seen that yet, we want them to come in strong. It's okay to nerf Revenant 24 hours later saying, man, his tactical, that we all know that thing is way too OP. But that's not how it
Exactly.
is. That's not how it's
Yeah,
been.
yeah.
It's
I would
been,
way rather have him nerf
uh,
him. It just
yeah.
hasn't happened like that for the last two
It's-
legends now.
yeah, people
Mhm.
get so excited for Revenant, and then when he comes out, it's like, oh man, Revenant sucks. You know,
But
like,
everyone's
that's
going to
just-
keep playing
should-
him because he has the
Yeah.
cool skins. He has a cool voice line, just like with Mirage. He's bad, but he's fun. You know, so
he's
gonna
got a
keep-
pretty hard hitbox to like hit, to be honest. I feel like
That's true,
he's
that's
very
true.
similar to Pathfinder in the fact that he's big but like hard to hit. I don't know if that's kind of doesn't really make sense. But like
I can
his,
see what you're saying, where you're relating him to Pathfinder in those hitboxes. Like he's got
Yeah.
the big long legs. It looks like robotic.
well, I mean,
legs.
he does have that extra, like, I guess it's not a passive, it's kind of the
Low
opposite of a
profile.
passive. Yeah, the low profile where he takes 5% more damage. I mean, I wouldn't be too mad if they removed that. Like, if they remove that, I'd say that's a slight tiny buff. But I really do think, like what you guys have said, the problem really lies within his abilities. They probably need to make some changes. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of his passive personally. His passive where he can climb up walls higher is actually, I thought that was a really cool idea. I really liked it in Shadowfall mode and
About to
all,
say,
all
it
that
made
type of
more
stuff.
sense in Shadowfall.
Yeah, it made sense, but I thought it would be
It's
good
so
as
cool
a
to see.
yeah, it's cool to see, but I thought it would be good as a passive. But when we got it, I was heavily disappointed. I don't know if this is just me, but in Shadowfall, when you had that passive or that ability, you could climb forever, infinitely.
Yeah.
Like you could climb all the way up the Leviathan's leg. But
Yeah.
but when I tried out
Yeah.
Revenant, I was sorely like, I felt like I was almost misinformed based on what the passive is, like how the description goes. It says he can climb farther, which I mean, I guess doesn't mean infinitely, but the distance he really can climb, I don't know if it's just me, but it feels like, to be honest, like only like 2 times, like
Yeah,
the
it's like 2
normal
times.
distance you can do, maybe a little bit more than 2 times or even below that, which I don't think that's super useful. It's cool you can get to high ground, I guess, a little bit easier, but even on this new map though, like there's not that many changes to be, or not that many places on the map where you can really climb and use that to your advantage.
Yeah,
like on
right.
Kings Canyon though, I thought, I mean, that ability would be awesome, like with Shadowfall mode. Maybe that's why it was better in the Shadowfall mode, because it was on Kings Canyon. But I mean, I've only found like a few places on this map where I've
Exactly.
found it useful to use Revenant's passive, and that's like climbing a few buildings in like the new capital city, like
About to say,
Fragment
Capital
East and
City's
West.
the only thing I can think of. Nowhere else really has tall enough buildings, and with
Yeah.
Kings Canyon, like like pretty much everywhere at Repulsor Tower was perfect for it. And then you had like other
Yeah.
places at like the North and South Tower that were really good for it. But like in World's Edge, the only place I can think of really is Capital.
And the only way I thought of that you could actually use this ultimate to be useful is if you set it down and you don't use it, you go into the fight, and then if you're really low on health, like let's say you got down all the way to 25 health, you run back and you tag the totem. But that's a waste of time in itself.
Yeah.
And the other thing would be to use it and then arc star someone who
Ooh,
send their
that's
ass
true.
in to blow
I
up.
didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
That
because
is a
then
good
if
way
you
to use it,
lose them,
though.
they pop back.
And
you can
another
still
thing,
push
like,
too if you-
the enemies can use your own death totem.
Yeah.
I didn't know that either, because I went up to somebody's death totem that wasn't on my team and used it and
Mhm.
like got the benefits from it. So I don't really like that either. I don't think that should.
And then if they put one caustic trap down, they can just kill everyone. It goes back to the totem.
Oh my
my
gosh,
gosh.
whoa, that's actually a good strat. I didn't think
Yeah,
about
it's
that.
pretty
Dang, you instantly respawn and then you just die because it'll just
Die
explode.
instantly
Yeah.
with caustic.
But
'Cause
besides,
caustic's gas, for those who don't know, it hits the body only. It doesn't hit the shield.
yeah, it doesn't do any damage to shield. So that actually is a good strat. Sheesh. I didn't think about that at all. But other than Revenant, there's a lot of other big changes with Season 4. And one of the big things that I've thought is they actually made quite a few changes to the meta of weapons and how things work with the guns and all that in Apex. They made a lot of changes. They buffed the Prowler. I mean, I can't even think about all the different stuff
there
they
was
did.
a lot of weapon changes. Yeah.
Yeah,
The Prowler buff.
The Devotion is now a legendary weapon. The L-Star is no longer a legendary weapon. And we got a new weapon entirely, as well as a new ammo. And they changed all of the snipers in general for that, as well as, I mean, the G7 Scout is now technically an AR, which is kind of weird. But I want to hear you guys' thoughts on the Sentinel. I mean,
I'll go.
Yeah, you go first, to be honest,
I'll
because
go
I want to
first.
hear your. I don't want to sound stupid.
Here's a bold statement. So I don't think anyone will disagree. If you do disagree, then you just need to work on your sniping skills. But the Sentinel is by far the most fun weapon to use in the game, and that's just how it is.
That's
Like,
huge.
It's like I'm a Call of Duty guy. I was born and raised, Call of Duty all my entire life. That's all I ever played. Quick scoping, trick shotting, and all of that. And I feel like I'm playing an old Call of Duty game sometimes with the Sentinel, or even that PUBG strategical feel. Like I feel like my shots are not just like shoot. I feel like the damage is kind of okay. I feel like
Feels kind of low to me.
I feel like it could do a little more, but when I feel so like much satisfaction when I hit a shot. Like I feel like I really just like I'm watching like a Shroud PUBG game where it's like, wow, he just hit that sniper shot. Like it really is a great sniper. And with the disruptors thing, I don't like how it has a timer on it, but I guess it does last for a good amount of time. But it really is such a satisfying weapon. I pick it up every single time, even in ranked. I mean, I'm always using a Sentinel because it is just so much fun to just constantly use a bolt action sniper, because it just sends me back to my old Call of Duty days. And with the Devotion being a legendary weapon, I literally drop an R99 or a maxed out R9, maxed out 301, anything for Devotion, because the Devotion is insane it was already insane. And that's why they said that they did that, because they realized that a maxed out Devotion was by far one of the most powerful weapons in the game. And it really is. And a lot of people didn't realize that. And so now when I'm picking it up all the time, it's got a 2X on it, a turbocharger, a level.
It's got a bigger
on it.
magazine.
It is so
all buffed out.
I mean, it is so powerful. It's just insane. So Sentinel, in my opinion, the most enjoyable weapon. Like I just love running around quick scoping kids and no scoping kids and just getting some really good sniper shots with it. And then a Devotion is just an insane weapon. I think it's the most powerful weapon in the game right now.
That's surprising for me to hear, to be honest, because I have a few different things about what I think is the most powerful right now. I personally, I don't know, Devotion is definitely up there. But about the Sentinel, I wanted to say, I was actually really surprised, like you said, with the Disruptor feature, which if you guys don't know what that is, that's where you can use a shield battery. You click, I don't know what button it actually is to use.
Mine's B.
B, yeah, okay. I think B is the default for PC. But when you click B, it uses that shield battery, and then I don't know how long it is. Maybe it's like 10 seconds or something, and you have more powerful, for that amount of time, you have more powerful shots that do more damage. I was actually really surprised with that. To be honest, when I thought of it, I didn't think it would be a very cool feature, because the way I pictured it in my mind would be you use that shield battery, you get that extra powerful shot, and then it would be only one shot. I was actually pleasantly surprised with the fact that you can shoot as many as you possibly can in that amount of time, and it'll be more damage. So that's something I actually really like about it.
I think it takes like more chunk out of the time whenever you shoot a disruptor shot. Like, for instance,
that would make sense.
like,
yeah.
If you're not using it and the time's just going down, then you have like, I want to say it's almost like 3 or 4 minutes maybe. Like it's a good while. Like I crossed from train yard all the way to the other side of Capital City with like nobody to shoot, and I still had a little bit of my timer left. So it lasts for a good while I was Pathfinder grappling, by the way. So it lasts for a pretty good while. But I think when you actually shoot with the disruptors going, it takes like maybe like a third of it away or something.
Okay, so you get, I think you get at least 3 or 4 shots. I was playing with it earlier today. Definitely got at least 3 shots. Maybe it's 3, maybe it's more. But I definitely like the Sentinel. It's not super overpowered, which I'm kind of surprised they were able to come out with a bolt action sniper, and it's not like super OP, because when you think of a bolt action sniper, you think one hit kill or
one shot kill. Yep.
And they were actually pretty confident, I'd say, with coming out with, what is it? It's a 3-4 hit kill if they have level 4 or level 3 and 4 armor, which is pretty crazy. But one weapon I really wanted to talk about, they added the new sniper, they added the new attachments for snipers, they added the new ammo, which has changed a lot. But something that really has kind of changed the feel of the game for me was the L-Star. So if you guys didn't know, if you guys haven't played Season 4 for whatever reason, you guys are definitely missing out if you haven't. But the L-Star is no longer a legendary weapon. It's not a crate weapon. It now uses energy ammo, as well as there is no reloading. You basically only have the overheat function, where if you shoot too much in a certain amount of time, you overheat and you have to put a new little battery or whatever in, basically like a reload, but you don't have to reload normally now. So that is really cool. They also reduce the damage by 1, and they decrease the rate of fire, but there's also less horizontal view kick when the weapon fires, which is pretty nice. So overall, I would definitely say this is a buff, just because you can find it on the ground like any other weapon. Is no longer a super rare legendary weapon. But I never thought I would say this, but I swear the L-Star is the best gun in the game right now. Personally, for me,
Wow.
I like, dude, I don't know, man. That's a
bold
big statement. I know. I kind of regret saying it. It's let me change my statement. Then it's in the top 3. I would say at least.
Everyone scrolled to the comments to reply.
Start roasting me, man. I never thought I would say this
L-Star,
either.
man.
Yeah, I'm sure there are some
Use
people.
the L-Star. You're taking it away from me. That's cool.
Yeah.
hey, I'm sure there are some people that agree with me right now in Season 4. They're getting the little L-Star feels. But like, I genuinely thought I would never say this, man. I actually really like the L-Star. You can carry around so much ammo. It feels like it does a lot of damage. And it's really nice early game is when I'm really finding the most use for it. Yeah, okay. You can agree with me on some points about it. I never thought I'd be able to say this, but I've actually been really enjoying it, early game especially. But I don't know, I can't even really get over the fact, like Season 3, when I found the L-Star, I literally would not pick it up if I had like a fully equipped alternator.
It was that bad.
Yeah, I've actually had some like prominent people who their voice is not just bullshit, who actually have been saying to me, yeah, the L-Star is overpowered, it's way too good now. And personally, I can't stand the L-Star, so I haven't even really given it a fair trial. But I've had a lot of people message me saying, hey, the L-Star's broken. It's really good. It's really good, if not the best weapon in the game. So you're not alone on that. So.
Hey, let's go. Okay,
I think
Miles was making me feel bad.
No, I think people are actually enjoying the L-Star a lot more than they were when it was a crate weapon, because you can have more ammo. I think the ammo is a huge separator. Before, when it was a crate weapon, you honestly would get what, like 2.5 clips.
It was
Something
maybe
like
a little
that?
bit more than that. I didn't even use it that much then, so I don't know.
I know you wouldn't get that much.
I never passed it up because I was worried about running out of ammo. Let's just say.
Yeah, so even that, it was instilled in your head that it had low ammo.
No, I'm saying that wasn't in my head. I didn't care about the ammo. I cared about the gun sucking.
Yeah, ammo
Yeah,
was
well,
never
that too.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, ammo was never really a problem for me with the L-Star. The problem I had was like, by the time you got to an L-Star, it was usually late game because it was from a package, and I'm not dropping a fully kitted R9 or Devotion for an L-Star that I just don't trust the L-Star.
That's a great point.
But on the fire rate of a Devotion or an R9 or something like that. And I think the reason that the L-Star is getting so much love now is because it's one of those weapons where you might not want it in game right now, but when you land on one, you feel like you're not going to lose.
Pretty powerful, right?
You have a really powerful weapon that has a pretty good ammo size, and now like here you are, like you're pretty much going to win any gunfight because most likely they've not found a weapon that's going to be dealing as much damage as you are. So I think the L-Star, I like the L-Star more than I did last season, but it's definitely not in comparison to the Devotion to me.
Why is it that you're going to drop the R99 for the Devotion now when the Devotion, there's nothing new about it? Why is it that you're all of a sudden?
Well, it has more ammo now.
Well, actually, I mean, maybe I just never.
It has more ammo, as in a bigger clip.
I think so, right? 54.
Then a normal clip. I think it has like a level 3. What would have been a level 3?
Yeah. I think you're right.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't have
it's nothing
new.
Yes, I did last season in ranked multiple times.
Okay, so you're one of those Devo people. Okay.
Yeah, I was one of those. And I think that's what helped them to realize that they started to realize, wow, this is so powerful, because a lot of people in my pred lobbies, including myself, if I found a turbocharger Devo, especially with a 2x, like it was incredible with the 2x, and I saw a lot of pros in my game doing it too. Like it's just unbeatable. Like in a close up range, like in a close up
hip
fight,
fire on it was pretty crazy.
Hipfire was crazy, especially like it's so hard when someone has even a level 3 light mag R9, and then versus someone who has a turbocharger devotion. You might be hitting all of your shots, but because the fire rate is insane and the damage insane, you just can't beat them. And even the mag is such a bigger size. So I did it multiple times last season, but it wasn't common to find enough energy ammo. That's why I usually would just keep an R9.
Well, I think the turbocharger was also just a
Yeah,
pain
it
in
was
the
kind
ass,
of
so
exactly.
fun.
Yeah, the hassle of finding a devotion with like all the attachments, the turbocharger. I feel like personally for me that took too much of time when I couldn't run by a R9 and like an extended light mag and not pick that up over a Devo, and like that I still haven't found a turbocharger on yet.
Exactly.
So the fact that like you
That's
can
why
find
I
it
was
fully
surprised.
equipped now that's why it's
that was
feels so
that was the
nice.
problem for me, because like if I had, it was more common to find an R9 with a level 2 mag at least, and by the time I had got the R9 fully kitted, if I would find a devotion, it doesn't have any attachments, so I tell myself, nah, I'll pass. But now that it's fully kitted, it's a lot easier to make the decision, because if season 3, if I had a fully kitted R9 and I saw a fully kitted devotion that was dropped, I'm 100% going to drop it for the devotion. It's just there were so many attachments, it was hard to find all of them. I would normally pass because I didn't have all the attachments like I did for the R9.
It's definitely a really good point. Another thing about Season 4, besides all the weapon changes and the gun meta changes, which there have been a lot of with Season 4, there's some pretty other what am I saying? Other pretty big changes, including the map changes. I mean, they added a lot of stuff. So one of the big things, obviously, is the new Planet Harvester. They also added in, what else did they add? They added that whole new town called Survey Camp, I'm pretty sure. And then they split Capital City into Fragment East and Fragment West. And I think those are all of the map changes. They also added weapon racks, and like there's the updrafts now when you do go down into the like lava pit of doom, basically. But I wanted to hear you guys' thoughts on the overall feel of the map changes, because I personally feel like, let me just say my opinions first, I think the map changes are amazing. I genuinely have been enjoying them a lot. It just gives a whole new feel to the map. Obviously, I don't know. Personally, I haven't really enjoyed World's Edge that much more than King's Canyon. It's definitely solid, but with these map changes, I don't know, I like it a lot more. It does feel a bit different though, especially with the new capital city. That's kind of hard for me to get used to, but the new Planet Harvester, I like that kind of feel. It kind of feels like a new type of hot drop area that is where a lot of people will go. It's in the center of the map. It's around a lot of stuff. It's got different layers to it. It's got some pretty good loot. So I definitely have been enjoying the Planet Harvester a lot, and that type of changes they made to that area of the map. So what do you guys think about the map changes and everything they've changed about World's Edge in Season 4?
I have so many good things to say about the map. Like, I'm loving it so much. The number one thing I love the most about the map change that I don't think many people have talked about, it's not an actual like in-game map change. It's the lighting. Like, instead of the whole white and blue effect, it's more of like a pink red kind of like morning sunrise effect. And
Dude, I feel like I've noticed that too. Okay, it's not just me.
No, it really it is a thing. Like, it's not, the map's not so white and blue anymore. Like, it's now like a pinkish kind of golden hour effect, and it looks so much better. It's so much easier to see your targets and not get like them mixed up with the snow. And it's also, the sun's not as harsh, I feel like. But my favorite place on the map, if you guys remember, like from the X Games and even Poland, TSM would always land at Cage, and it was like a small little named location, but it had a lot of good loot. My new cage that I always drop at in every ranked game is Survey Camp. Like, Survey Camp is one of the best places on the map for me, with the weapon racks, and they have so many buildings and there's so many obstacles. Like, so if someone lands there, you have plenty of cover. And I just love Survey Camp because it's also not too much of a hot drop like Capital City. And that's probably my favorite two things about the map. Just,
do you like the weapon racks in Survey Camp?
I love the weapon racks. I love the weapon racks. Yeah, because like there's I think there's at least 8 weapons on Survey. So I think there's 4 in one building. No, maybe it's 3, and then like 3 or 4 in the other building. So there's like at least 6 to 8 guaranteed weapons, and one of them is usually a pretty decent weapon. Like, like a sentinel or a 301 or something like that. So those my two favorite things about the map is just how the lighting has changed. I feel like it's a lot easier to see and focus on things now. And then also Survey Camp is just one of my favorites. My favorite additions to the map, but there's definitely a lot more. A lot of people have been loving the new capital city, but that's my two favorite things.
What do you think about it, Lou? Because I'm pretty curious. I mean, you play a lot, you stream a lot. What do you think about the map changes?
I'm a fan of it because it spreads loot zones around. You have more areas that you can land now with the new area that they added by the little train tunnel. Um, I like it. I don't see a problem with it. It is cool to also have a beam right in the center of the map. It gives you some orientation. Like that's one of the things they talked about. The fissure, haven't really had any fights around it too much, but it does give some benefits to Octane. So yeah, now you can have a reason to use the jump pad. Yay.
Dang.
Besides that, I mean, the map changes I don't feel were too severe. Now I saw some streamers, ACU being one of them, talk about how the fissure was just a big mistake. They should have never done that. But I don't think it's that big of a problem. I kind of like having the map be like torn apart, kind of like how we saw in Kings Canyon. You know, we're seeing the devastation. It gives that world ending kind of feel. I definitely like that. So for me, it's a go. I like it.
It's a positive, good thing.
Yeah,
I agree.
I feel like they over exaggerated the whole fissure thing. Like it's thinking that you have to use a Pathfinder zip to get across, or you have to use the Octane jump
you
pad.
definitely don't.
Like the bridge is not like any obstacle or any like hassle at all to go across the bridge. And then
No.
also like you can easily just walk around. Like it's not even
Yeah,
that big.
true,
You can
true.
just walk around the edge. Like so it wasn't that big of a deal. But yeah, I'm also for it. But I do miss Kings Canyon, and I'm interested to see what they're gonna do whenever the split happens, and see how they kind of make that transfer.
So one other thing we definitely have to talk about before we end off this podcast, we've covered pretty much all the changes they made with Season 4, all the new additions, which have all been amazing. We definitely want to hear you guys' thoughts and how you guys have been enjoying the pace of the season. Definitely let us know down in the comments section below. But let's go ahead and get onto this quick question we do have from our last podcast, episode number 8. You guys should check that one out if you guys haven't already. Why not? But we did get a pretty nice question. Before we get into that question, though, if you guys want to be featured in the next podcast and have us answer one of your questions, definitely make sure to comment down below. We will be going through this episode's comments and picking out one for the next podcast. So comment down below a question with the hashtag SquadCast question. So make sure to comment down below hashtag SquadCast question with your question. And then Miles, I think you have the question for this episode. What is that?
I can't remember. I can't
right
remember
there in
exactly
chat,
where
right
we
there.
found it. Oh, you just found it. Okay,
We
so
got it.
so user by the name M4K or M4D Skills.
Mad
Mad
skills, baby.
Skills.
Oh, I didn't even see it. Mad skills, baby. That's actually super sick. I haven't even seen like number letters in forever. But he had a really good question. A lot of people have been wondering. A lot of people were actually confused by the patch notes as to what they meant by their matchmaking changes. He actually asked the question, what is the future of SBMM? Which you guys don't know, that means it just means skill-based matchmaking going to be, as in will they be changing it, removing it, etc. And so we noticed from the podcast that it looked like they were going to hint towards maybe a change in it, or maybe they're going to be adjusting it.
The
in
patch
season 4
notes, you
already.
mean? The podcast?
I'm sorry. The patch notes. Yeah,
Okay.
I must have worded that wrong. The patch notes, they said, I think the headline for it was matchmaking changes or matchmaking, something like that. But then in the actual notes, they really just said that they were looking at it and it looks like to be working pretty fine, pretty good. And they said it's actually been in the game since the start, and they're not really sure, why it's gotten so much. People have kind of been on such an outrage since, but they're constantly making adjustments to it and trying to make it better and better each day. So it's not really a guaranteed confirmed that anything has changed since season 4 or anything drastic. I mean, SBMM is still in the game just as usual, and there's not really much more information that we have on it. But I have noticed personally, for me, my games lately have been much easier than what they were in the middle of season 3. There was 1 or 2 weeks where like skill-based matchmaking was absolutely like unplayable. Like it was super hard for me, but it could also be the fact I just wasn't playing as much. Maybe I just got worse. So that could be my only thing. But sadly, they're not giving us much information. I think as we were anticipating on SBMM.
Yeah, I can say from playing quite a bit because, like you said, I do stream every day, so I've really noticed a difference. Um, I'm not at Miles' skill level. Miles is the Apex Predator. I dashboarded to Diamond. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't dashboard. But
I was about to say, wait, what's going on, man?
Yeah, you freaked me out.
I'm
I
just
was
kidding.
like, no, he didn't.
So I think probably naturally I'd stay around Platinum or Diamond, somewhere in there. And the lobbies that I'm getting are just Apex Predator full squads. I'm seeing tons of Apex Predators and Diamonds now, whereas before I only saw maybe a couple. So I'm sure it's definitely benefiting Miles. It's not benefiting me though. I'm getting my ass whooped all the time now, and yeah, I'm thinking we're going to get more complaints. But I think what they're doing probably is mixing more of the middle tier players, which would be me, up with the Miles tier player. So we're getting more of a mixture there, and what that's going to do is it's going to prevent people with the big voices like ACU and Dizzy and all the streamers from complaining. And so you're going to see, I think a lot of the complaints start to die down because the big streamers who are all Apex Predators are not going to complain.
Oh, I didn't think about it like that. If that that's a good strategy, if that's the changes they're making. But I definitely agree with you in that point. I'm not. I've never been Apex Predator. Sad face. I haven't grinded ranked at all that much. I never got to Apex Predator, but I definitely have been feeling. I've been playing with a lot better players. It's kind of hard for me to tell exactly how it's changed, but they definitely have been making some changes. I mean, specifically, they said they'll be pushing out changes globally to matchmaking that they've been testing in specific regions. So I thought that was pretty interesting. They are testing changes of skill-based matchmaking, probably without telling anybody, in specific regions, just to see the feedback.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure how that completely works, but that is cool.
Hey,
I mean,
I remember when people were making like videos like every single week about SBMM, and people were saying like, hey, like in the comments, does anybody notice? But it just seemed like SBMM was off today, and all my games were really, really good. And then someone would comment and say, no, it's definitely been on, nothing has changed. But we don't really know. They could have been testing it in your region without you knowing it. And maybe this is going to be some of the updates that we'll be getting in the future.
And we also don't know what the algorithm actually is.
Yeah,
so
true.
those changes could be affecting that person. Maybe they lost 10 games in a row, and so now they're thrown in with the
Yeah.
bots, and they just don't really.
yeah, exactly. Well, thank you, Mad Skills, M4DSK33LS. Thank you, Mad Skills, for that question. Absolutely amazing. Make sure to comment down below, you guys. Comment down below your questions. Hashtag SquadCast question, so you guys can be featured in the next episode. But the one thing I did want to say in that question, he did mention as in will they be changing it or removing it, etc. I think just fully to end my answer to that question, as I've said many times in my videos, if you guys have watched, they'll never remove skill-based matchmaking. Respawn is not stupid. It works for pretty much every game there is, just overall for the entire community. I mean, obviously there are some downsides, but they won't be removing it. That's just my answer for that. So the future of skill base is probably going to be something pretty similar to what we have now, but a few changes. So we'll just have to wait and see what those changes are. Hopefully they are for the better. But the last topic we did have was something, Loot, I definitely wanted to hear you talk about this, is the Valentine's Day event. So as you guys know, we had the Season 4 update, which came with a lot of new files, of course, and our boy, iLoot Games, data miner, YouTuber, streamer extraordinaire, has found some things. So what have you found, Loot?
Well, we know the event starting on the 12th. So there you go, guys. We
Oh,
have a
wow.
Valentine's Day event coming on the 12th. And the only things that I was able to pull out are, for sure, visually at least, I was able to pull out 2 new charms. So we're getting some Valentine's Day charms. We're also getting a badge for when you log in. You're going to automatically, I think at least that's going to be the badge, but there is a login reward. And so I think it's the badge. Last year, I believe it was you had to revive your teammates or something. I didn't actually get to play.
There
that
was no
yet, but
Valentine's event last year, if that's what you're talking
well,
about.
it wasn't.
Yes,
There
wasn't
was
like-
a
It wasn't like
a weekly
like
shop update, but there was nothing other than that.
There was a
it
badge,
wasn't like an
it
event
was-
like we have now, but like
right,
there was some
It wasn't like
event-based
events,
thing.
yeah. So you were able to earn a Valentine's Day badge last season, And I think there was also a DMR skin, maybe. I know
Yeah,
I've
there was
seen
a
like
longbow Valentine's.
yeah,
Yeah,
there was a
yeah.
longbow skin, and then was there a Pathfinder?
There was a Pathfinder
frame?
banner. Yeah, banner
Yeah,
frame.
yeah. So there were some things last year, and you guys will be able to see them this year. I think the badge looks really cool. I'll send it to you guys right now so you can give your opinion.
So that's actually pretty interesting how we actually know the exact
Oh,
date,
yeah,
the
I like that
12th.
one.
Okay. Woo, so that badge looking pretty nice. And then those 2 charms. So we get a badge and 2 charms. Not too
Yeah,
bad.
I really like
charm.
the Pathfinder.
Yeah, that Pathfinder charm looks absolutely amazing. He's a little Cupid. He's got his bow and arrow. It's a nice badge too as well. It's a little Nessie with a rose in her mouth, or his mouth.
Yeah. And so then we also see that there's going to be new quips added for every character. So
Ooh.
that means there's a possibility that they would also get skins since they're getting.
Ooh,
Yeah, I
hope
definitely
there's
would.
Valentine skins.
Yeah,
that
there's a
would be
lot of
cool.
potential there for some Valentine skins. I can just imagine Watson being like a little Cupid, like in a white outfit with wings or something like that.
Yeah.
Hearts all over red. There's a lot of different potentials.
And
for
so
that.
last year it was called Valentine's Day badge. The event was called Live Die Live, and then the description was revive or respawn a player available for a limited time around Valentine's Day. So when you revive someone, you earn the badge, or you earn the badge last
Oh
year.
yeah, so it was
I
a
got
super
that
basic
badge.
challenge.
Oh yeah, it was super basic, and this one might just be for the login. Just log in for the day, and that's it. You're good to go.
Yeah.
This is all the information I have on this one so far for this season. It just says Valentine's Play. That's going to be the name of the 2020 Valentine's Day event.
Ooh,
And
there we go. So Valentine's Play, we get login rewards. There's 2 charms for sure. There's a badge, and we know it's the 12th, as well as all those quips.
And
There's a
do-
bunch of new quips.
And
So
10
we
a.m.
know that
Pacific
this
Standard
is- that we know that this is not a collection event.
well, it does say collection event right there in the files, doesn't it?
I don't know if it says collection event.
What you sent us right here, it says Valentine's long name, short name 2020, and then hashtag collection event login reward, and then a few different things like the date and time. So I mean, if Loot doesn't
Who
even
knows?
know
I
for
just-
sure
I just-
right
a
there.
lot of people
Oh
want-
yeah,
there's a
yeah.
lot-
You're right on that correct. So the collection event, what they could be referring to is just the login reward. So I don't know if it'll come in with the full store
like an
collection
heirloom and
event.
stuff.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll come all like that. I wouldn't expect that, but you never know. They might drop the Bloodhound Town takeover that I leaked information about.
Oh, that's
You
true.
never know. That could be what comes with this one.
Definitely a
But
good
it
point.
is going to be at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, guys. Pacific Standard Time. I know we'll get this a million times. What time is that in New York? Google it if you can't figure it out.
Yeah,
It's
so the
1
12th,
PM
and
in
then it lasts 7 days till the 19th. So
Correct.
that is pretty
it's
interesting.
only a week. Oh,
Yeah.
All right, so we know quite a bit of stuff about the Valentine's event. Obviously, none of it is confirmed. I definitely want to state that right here, right
We're
now.
hoping for
None
the
of this
Valentine's
is
skins.
of none of this, as always,
Everything is speculation.
every leak. This is not confirmed. It's speculation based on some pretty decent evidence from the files, but we don't know for sure if it's going to be like a full event with a town takeover, new event. But there obviously is always that potential that there will be a full Valentine's event rather than just having those login rewards, quips, and a few other things. We could get some pretty big stuff, so I'm definitely excited to see what they have in store for us on the 12th before Valentine's Day. So I think that's how we're going to end it off here, guys, for the episode number 9 of the SquadCast podcast. Thank you guys so much for watching. Before we end it off, want to remind you guys to make sure to comment down below hashtag SquadCast question and ask a question so you guys can be featured in the next podcast and have your question answered. As always, if you guys have enjoyed this podcast, make sure to hit that like button. It helps us out a ton. We're going to be having a lot more of these podcasts coming out for you guys. There's a lot to talk about, so definitely make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell if you guys haven't already, so you don't miss the next podcast. But I think we're going to end it off here. Thank you guys for watching. It's been your boy Seth Lee and the boys, and we out.
bye.
Bye.
Peace
Goodbye,
out.
guys.